Welcome to Ellen Ruth Soap. I'm Ellen, and today we are making bath bombs, not soap, and I'm so excited to do this. I have grandchildren. I have 8 grandchildren. One is still in the womb, but I'm looking forward to him being born, and so I like to make bath bombs for them. We're going to do 2 different kinds today. I'm going to make one really fun with micas and a fragrance oil. I have some adventurous grandkids that will love that. And then for my littlest grandbabies, we're going to make a bath bomb with essential oils, lavender, because they take baths before bed. Lavender is a very calming, relaxing scent. And so, to kind of help get baby in the mood for bed is always a plus. So we're going to make 2 different kinds of bath bombs today for the children, but of course these are for adults too. Why not, right? I love a good bath and I love the fizzy. We're going to put some wonderful ingredients in there, so they're going to be luxurious. All the things. I love it. And it's been a while since I made a YouTube video. I'm so glad to be back. I've taken some time off, needed to reboot, refresh, spend some time with family, get my priorities in order, but I'm still here. Thanks for not giving up on me. We're going to get everything pulled together, get my work surface sanitized, and let's come back and make some really fun and soothing bath bombs. All right, guys, we are ready to make our first batch of bath bombs, and I decided to do the natural, gentle baby bath bombs first and get those out of the way. So we'll talk about the ingredients for this first batch, and then we'll get on to the fun, fizzy kids bath bombs. Basically, they're the same, very close to the same thing. But this just shows you that you can kind of tweak and massage the recipe and the idea to customize it and make them very unique to whatever you're wanting to do. So let's get started here with the ingredients that we're using for our gentle baby bath bombs, which I know my little tiny baby girl is going to love. The first thing is, let's do the molds. For these ones, I'm going to be using a very basic round bath bomb. So I don't know if the camera's picking this up. It is just a scooped out. It's going to make a round bath bomb. I have this mold, so I'm going to use it. You can also use the little metal ones where you scoop the bath bomb fluff and you smash them together. They make fabulous bath bombs. These are super inexpensive on Amazon. But what I am doing with these little cups, because I have them, is they are out on a tray. And when I get done pressing my bath bombs, I will put them in here to dry so they don't get a flat on one side. So I will put them in here, and then after 6 to 12 hours, I'll flip them over, and as they're drying, they'll stay in here, and it'll keep them from rolling around also. So that's what my little cups are for. All right, before we get into the bulk of the dry ingredients, let's talk about my little cup of the wet ingredients and get this out of the way first. This recipe has oil in it. A lot of bath bomb recipes have no oil. It's just either water or isopropyl alcohol or witch hazel. If you're not using an oil in your bath bomb recipe, you don't need polysorbate 80. If you are using oil or a mica for a colorant, I highly suggest polysorbate 80 because it kind of emulsifies with the bath water. It keeps it from leaving an oily slick around the rim of your tub or a mica powder line around the rim of your tub. So because this recipe has oil in it, I'm using polysorbate 80. So let's start. I have 14 grams or half an ounce of almond oil is the oil that I'm choosing. You can do any oil that you like. Olive oil, anything would be great in here. So I'm using almond oil. I have 7 grams or 0.25 ounces of polysorbate 80. I have 14 grams or half an ounce of witch hazel. That's the liquid that I'm using. And I have 14 grams or half an ounce of lavender essential oil. That's what's going on in the little liquid pot, and we will save this off to the side. I also have a spritzer bottle of witch hazel. In case my mixture is too dry, I can mist it with my witch hazel and wetten it up to get to the consistency that we need. So that's that. I have some beautiful lavender buds that I will just sprinkle a few in the bottom of each mold as we press them, just so it looks pretty when we unmold, because I think it looks lovely. And I don't want to put too many in there because I don't want the baby to play with them or something, but it looks pretty on the finished bath bomb. So I am adding them, and these happen to be beautiful and vibrant color lavender buds. Sometimes when I get lavender buds, they're really sort of gray and woody looking. These ones are gorgeous. If I can find a link, I will. I got these on Amazon, and I think they're particularly vibrant. So using those, Dry ingredients, of course, we have baking soda and citric acid. That is the bulk of any good bath bomb recipe. Those are the staples. All the rest is sort of extras and things like that. So what I have here is 652 grams or 23 ounces of baking soda. And I have here 425 grams or 15 ounces of citric acid, which we will hold off until we mix our liquid in with the dries, so we don't want to activate it. And here are the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so the next one is 28 grams or 1 ounce of cream of tartar. If you don't have cream of tartar, you could substitute this with cornstarch or even kaolin clay. I like the cream of tartar. It's a nice hardening agent. I think it makes for a really hard bath bomb. So I like cream of tartar, but if you don't have it, you can sub it with a few other things. The next two ingredients going in here is I have 1 ounce or 28 grams of colloidal oats or very finely ground whole oats. That's what that is. And I have calamine powder, 1 ounce or 28 grams of calamine. And I love calamine. It's very soothing on the skin. Calamine is a combination of zinc oxide and a little bit of iron oxide. That's what gives it the beautiful color. And it's very soothing on the skin. And again, if you're going to use calamine powder in a bath bomb, I recommend polysorbate 80 because this is not water soluble. It's an oil soluble. It's very interesting, but this would definitely leave a ring around your tub, and I don't want that. So again, the polysorbate 80 comes in handy. So calamine is going to be also the colorant in this. It will give these bath bombs a really pretty pink color, which I think will go really nice with a few lavender buds on top. Okay, our final dry ingredient, which is an optional ingredient, is 14 grams or half an ounce of SLSA powder. And this makes bubbles, which my children love. You can leave this out if you don't want it, and you don't really need to adjust much else. You could bump up your baking soda by half an ounce if you wanted to leave out the SLSA. I love it. The grandkids love it, so I'm putting it in there. And that is pretty much the game plan for this first batch we're going to make. So the very first thing we need to do is run all of the dry ingredients, except the citric acid, right away, through my sieve and make sure I don't have any clumps and things like that. Baking soda can get clumpy, so I want to make sure I have a nice smooth powder in here. So let's get to doing that. I'm just going to take my whisk and blend the dry ingredients a little. Look at that pretty color. Love it. And now, easy peasy, we're going to add our liquid ingredients in here and just massage it with our hands till we get it fully incorporated, and then we will add our citric acid. All right, and there's no rhyme or reason, just get your hands in there and get messy. I love this part of bath bomb making. It's fun. Now, I did say I have my squeezy bottle of witch hazel off to this side if this is a little dry, but what do you do if it's a little wet? Well, you could add, I would say just like 1 teaspoon at a time, some more baking soda till you get up to the consistency that you want. Just go slowly. Even adding liquid or adding dry, you want to go slowly. And I live in Tennessee, so my weather here will dictate how dry or moist my bath bombs get. So it really depends on your climate, your elevation. All those things are factors when making bath bombs. Even though I find this recipe to be perfect for me and my climate, it might not be exactly perfect for you, so you might have to play around with it a little. So there's always that to consider. So right now it's a little wet feeling because I haven't added the citric acid in there yet. But I feel like this is very well incorporated. So let's go ahead and plop it in. And I'm just going to dump it so I can sort of sift through and see if there's little chunks, and I'll just smush them with my fingers. Okay, I think we've got them. And now we just start mixing. This recipe for the baby with the lavender is very calm smelling. I just love it. And it would also be good if your little tiny person has a diaper rash. This would be very soothing in the bath water. And for us grown-ups, if we have any skin issues, eczema, or itchies or bug bites. You know, my husband, when he goes out and does yard work, he gets all, you know, scratched up and bit up, and this is very soothing for all of those things. It's like loamy, loose sand right now. So we're going to give it a pinch test or a squeeze test, which means just grab a little handful, squeeze it nice and hard, open your hand, and then bounce. And if it holds together like that, I think we're doing okay. It broke apart a little, but you don't want it too wet. I might do, let me just do one mist of my witch hazel. Okay. And when you mist, you want to mix real quick so it doesn't just sit in one spot. So it doesn't take much liquid to kind of help it along. The other thing with bath bombs is everybody's a little different. Some people will add their citric acid right away and then add the liquids, and they just add the liquids really slowly, and it works out perfect for them. So there isn't a right or wrong way specifically. It's just what works for you and your method of doing things. So it's pretty easy to work with these recipes and play with them. All right, I think we got that mixed in. Let's give it another squeeze test. Yeah, that's holding together nicely. So I'm going to call that good. And it just feels like damp sand is how I'm describing it. So, and as I take my time making these bath bombs, if this dries out a little and starts getting crumbly, we're just going to mist the top again with witch hazel and mix again. So it's as easy as that to keep it kind of going, because it will dry out as it sits here. All right, I have a little hand press that I got years ago that I'm going to be using. It just goes levers up and down, and it helps me press, and it saves my wrists. But you can press these by hand. You don't need one of these. If I can find a link for something similar, I'll leave one. But it's just a tool that I have, so I'm going to use it. So with this type of a mold, it's a 3D printed mold. You put the bottom in, and I like to put it on a paper plate so I don't make too big of a mess. And if I was selling these, I would put this on my scale and weigh them so I know how much weight each one is. But I'm not selling these. They're for my grandkids. So I'm just going to do them right on the paper plate here. And I almost forgot. All right. I don't want to put my dusty hands down in there, so let me get my spoon, and I'm just going to take, gosh, it's maybe half a dozen little lavender buds, and I'll put it in the bottom of the mold here. And then we'll start packing in our fluff. And when we put the top on this, however high this sticks up is how high the Saturn ring is going to be. And I want it higher than that. Let me pull that out. That's not enough. I want some more in there. There we go. All right. So however high that little rim is right there is what's going to be around the middle of the bath bomb. And I like a little ring around the middle. Some people don't like any. That's fine. It's totally personal preference. And then I put it in my little press here and literally just press down. And then I like to flip it over and press on the other side. All right, and then it came with this little unmolding business. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. All right. Dust off all the stuff on the sides. And there's the side with the lavenders. How pretty is that? And let's flip it. And there. I'm going to get my little cup here. Whoops. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. And again, I'm going to let this sit for about 6 to 12 hours, and then I'll come and flip them over so the underside can get dried out, air exposure. And in about a day, they're going to be perfectly hard and ready to go. So let's get the rest of these pressed out. back for our next batch of bath bombs, and it's a little bit of rinse and repeat, but I did make a few changes. So what I have here is 680 grams or 24 ounces of baking soda, and then the same citric acid, 425 grams, 15 ounces of citric acid. And here's a little difference. What I did was I took the ounce of calamine and the ounce of oats and I added them. I added 1 ounce extra of baking soda and I added 1 ounce of kaolin clay. So instead of the calamine, I'm adding 1 ounce or 28 grams of kaolin clay. I have 1 ounce or 28 grams of cream of tartar, and I have my 14 grams or 0.5, half an ounce of SLSA. So that's how I made up for the difference, switching out the oats and the calamine, added a little more baking soda and added some kaolin clay. So that's one of the ways you can tweak this up. And then I got the citric acid. Here is the liquid portion. It is all the same, except this has a eucalyptus spearmint fragrance oil in here, which smells fabulous. So to go along with that very bright, vibrant scent, I am going to do groovy green. I thought my kids would get a big kick out of that, my grandkids. And then for a little extra something special down in the mold, I'm going to put a few grains of rock salt just so it looks pretty. I thought they would love that. And the mold that I'm going to use is a disc. And I love making disc bath bombs because they are flat. They're very easy to wrap and label. Round bath bombs can be tricky to get a label on there. This is just a flat disc and it's super easy to press. And so that's one of the reasons I love these. But we'll get into that after we sift all of our ingredients. Same drill as before. We're going to sift all the dry ingredients except the citric acid, add the liquids, and mix it up. So let's get to it. So after we get this all blended together with the citric acid, I'm going to split off a portion and color with our groovy green. So we'll have 2 different colors in here. If I was going to color it all the same, I would put the mica in with the dry ingredients before the wet. But because I want swirls in this, or as swirly as I can get it, we're going to go ahead and do it this way. And the fragrance I'm using was from Be Scented. Jen has moved on to a different company now. It's called Mountain Peaks Fragrance, I believe. So I haven't purchased from her yet at her new thing, but I do plan to. So Be Scented, where I got the fragrance, no longer is in existence. So I didn't show you the bottle or any talk about it too much because of that reason. I think I want to do about half of this or thereabouts. So I'm just going to kind of, there, we'll just do it like that. Super not exact, which is totally fine. There we go. That's good. So let's leave this uncolored since I can't mix in this little container easily. And we'll color the big pan and that'll make mixing it easier. Whew, look at that, you guys. I mean, that is a punchy color. I tell you what, it's not going to take much. So I'm going to start with about that. I would call that about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And we're going to mix that in and see how we go. We can always add some more. Oh, I think that's going to be beautiful. It's very limey color. Look at that. They're going to get a kick out of these. All right, I'm going to call that good. I don't want to play with this too much. It'll dry it out. And so the way you do the press, the disc press, is it has a shallow end, and you put the cap on that, you fill it up with product, and then this is the end you press. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a couple of salt granules in there just to look pretty. And we'll take a handful of each and kind of hopefully plop them in there together like that and make a swirl. I guess that's what I'm trying to do. We'll see when it all gets pressed out. I just don't want it to all blend together too much. I want you to be able to see two colors, because otherwise what's the point, right? There we go. Oh, that's really high. So this one's going to have a huge line on it. Let's go ahead and press it, and we'll see. Yeah, I put too much fluff in this. That's all right. You know what? Happy mistake. I still like to flip it over. And okay, oh, that's pretty. There's the top. That looks cool, but this is going to be a really fat bath bomb, which is fine. My grandkids will love it. But that wasn't necessarily what I was going for. It was one quite that chubby. This is a nice heavy one. This would be for a jacuzzi-sized bathtub. All right, take two. Let's see if I can not get this one quite as full. There we go. That's a little more like it. And again, if I was marketing these, I would have this paper plate over on the scale to make sure that I got an equal amount of weight in each bath bomb. But because these are for the grandkids, I'm just loosey-goosey doing it. And there we go. Ooh, that's pretty. Oh, I love it. And you can see how these would be really easy to put a circle label on if you were marketing. There we go. It's a little less beefy. I think this is about the size I'm liking. Love, love, love. And again, like the round ones, I'm going to let these sit for about 6 to 12 hours. And then I'll come down and I'll flip them over and let the bottom side be exposed to the air. And in about 24 hours, they're good and hard and dry and ready to be wrapped. They are all ready to sit out and dry. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the calamine ones, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus 2 little Barbie size ones of these. And these are not equal size. This one's really short. This one's really chubby. So because I wasn't weighing it, I just eyeballed it. So I think you could get 10, easily 10 equal size ones if you were weighing each out, but I think they look so pretty. I'm delighted. So let me scoot these off to the side, and got a little fluff left over. Let's go ahead and give it a fizzy test, and then we'll be back tomorrow when they're all dried out and ready to talk about wrapping options and all the finishing touches. All right, you guys, in the name of full disclosure, we're going to go along with a little trial that I'm having right now. So I came down this morning to flip my bath bombs over, and they're looking beautiful. And the bottom side that was on the parchment paper, you know, needs a little air time. So I flipped these over. Everything's looking great. They're hardening up really nice, yada, yada. I come over to my little round bath bombs, and guess what happened? Some of you already know what I'm going to say. They are stuck. I mean, like, I can't budge them. So here's how I would have flipped them. I take an empty cup, put it in there, tap, 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 and bloop, this is supposed to come right off. I mean, literally, I have banged on these. You just don't even know. I have tried so hard to get these off. Nothing's happening. They are stuck. So let's talk about what the game plan is. All is not lost. These are beautiful, and we have a couple of different options that we can do with these. One of them is well, it's too late for these now, but you can get a food grade silicone spray and mist the inside of your little cups. Therefore, nothing will stick, or wipe them with a little mineral oil very lightly. Some people have said that works. Other people have suggested that my batter was a little too moist, and that's why it adhered to here. Now, they did form wonderful bath bombs, so I'm not sure if the batter was too moist or not. I feel like they came out well and unmolded the first time well. So, and I did get a couple little bumps, so maybe that's an indicator that it was too moist. That could be a factor too. But as far as them being stuck in the mold, somebody suggested popping these in the freezer for about a half an hour. And hopefully, you know, when you freeze something, it shrinks a little. We'll see if that'll loosen this up. If it doesn't, we have a couple more options. One is these little doodads are very inexpensive. You could wrap it just like that and throw it in the tub and it would still fizz out. So all is not lost. Or if I really were mad at this and I could just chunk these up and bottle it in jars, mason jars, or some sort, or a bag as crumbles, and just have bath bomb crumbles. So I would not throw these away. They're still beautiful, but they're stuck as stuck can be. And I've tried every one of these. They're all 100% stuck. They are not coming out. So I'm going to put these ones on a different tray. I'm going to throw these in the freezer for a half hour, and we'll come back and see if I can get them out of the mold. All right, we are back. It has been 1 hour exactly since I popped these in the freezer. So I'm going to try and unmold and see if they come out any better. I don't think they're going to. Not trying to be pessimistic, but it's not looking good. All right, we tapped really hard. It's not budging. I mean, not at all. I can't even like screw it out. These are stuck. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I'm not going to call these a fail. There's a couple of things, like I said before, that you could do on the front end, you know, coating your little cups, or I could have come down like every hour or two and flipped them. I have a feeling they wouldn't have been as stuck if I had flipped them more often rather than waiting the full 12 hours and then try to unstick them. That could be an option. So it's I still love this recipe. I'm sticking by it. I think this was user error on my fault for not flipping earlier and all the things. Yeah, not happening. Stuck. So, and the reason why I'm sticking by this recipe is these are turning out. They're absolutely beautiful. They're nice and hard. I'm still going to let them dry for a few more hours, but I love it. And look at the tops of these. I mean, let's just be honest. These are gorgeous. So what I am going to do with these is give them to my daughter for my granddaughter and all of my grandkids, my grandsons included, and she will just return these little cups to me. But they are super inexpensive. They're like $10 for a set of 12 of these or something. I'll leave a link for some options down below. So even if I had to wrap these with the cups on them and sell them, it's not a big deal. It's not perfect, but they are still great bath bombs. And like I said, if I wanted to, you could take you know, something sharp and start chipping these out of the mold and put them in a mason jar or a cellophane bag or something and have bath bomb crumbles. That's great. So it's not a loss. These are still going to be fizzy and foamy and wonderful with the calamine and the oats and the lavender essential oil. All the goodness is still in here. They are just stuck as can be in the mold. You know, I'm not happy. I don't like it when stuff like this happens, but it does happen, and that's the reality of being a maker. So I wanted to share the wins and the fails and some of the in-betweens. I would consider this an in-between. Not a fail, but not what the outcome was. All right, so that being said, we are going to wrap these up, and we'll talk about that, and I'm going to label my little flat ones here because they're so fun to label, even though they're for my grandchildren. But just to give you an example of what size label and how I would label these. So let's do that. But first, let me pull my scale over and tell you how much these weighed and what we got from the batter that we made. Okay, so I have my little empty cup here. I'm going to put that on, tear out my scale. Let's put this up. This is a 4 ounce plus, like a 4.25 ounce bath bomb, a nice big 4-ounce bath bomb. That's these guys, and I think they're all going to be relatively close. Yep. So these are nice big 4-ounce bath bombs. Love that. And then these little guys. So we got our chubby one here and our regular one here. Let me tear this out. This is a 5.5 ounce one, this big boy. And the regular one is a 4-ounce bath bomb. So I got 9 4-ounce bath bombs of the Calamine, and I got 10 because I have some that are skinny, some that are fat, but basically 9 or 10 4-ounce bath bombs out of this, plus my little Barbie size ones, which I think are so cute. My granddaughter's gonna love that. I will throw one in water for you guys and we'll watch how it fizzes, and I'll save one for her little dollies so her dollies can have a bath bomb too. Love that. All right, let me go print some labels and we'll talk about wrapping and all that when we come back. And we're back with my wrapping, or the way I'm going to wrap these bath bombs. I think most people who make bath bombs do like to shrink wrap them, and it does a couple things. It protects them so they're a little hardier if you want to ship them or put them in a gift bag and they get knocked around. The shrink wrapping really does kind of lend strength to the bath bomb to hold the integrity of it. And also it keeps the humidity from getting in so that it won't get activated or soft or crumbly. It just kind of holds it where it is. So I have my impulse heat thing here, which I got on Amazon. It works great. I have had to replace the little Teflon pad here a few times, but it's super easy to work with. And then I have my little heat gun here and my shrink bags. So I have these little ones. These are 4x6 shrink bags, which I will use for my teeny little Barbie size soap. And then I typically buy 6x6 bags because these fit a bunch of different sizes, and then I can just cut it down with my sealer to the correct size that I need. So it's a nice universal size, and if you buy in bulk, they're cheaper. And so this is a 6x6 bag, which I'll be using. Let's go ahead and grab a bomb here and I'll show you. So there we go. Beautiful, smells fantastic. And I'll show you my labels here real quick. These are 2-inch labels from onlinelabels.com, and I use their Maestro label designer. The fonts, everything is through them for these. So I have who I am, the name of the product. I'm calling these Minty Bliss because the eucalyptus and the mint smell so fresh and minty. What it is, it's a foaming bath bomb, and the ingredients in descending order. If you're going to sell your product, you should have the weight on there in grams and ounces also, but these are for my grandkids, so I did not put the weight on here, but that's a note to you if you are selling. So there are the labels, pretty quick and straightforward. And so what I like to do is put it in one way, get it down to size. So now that's pretty much a 4x6, this size bag. I just cut it down, and now I'm going to seal it up. Easy peasy. And what I'm going to do with the round ones is leave them unshrunk. Does that make sense? Actually, I could do that with these too. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, all right, here we go. I'm working on the fly here, people. Forgive me. I am not going to heat gun these. You can. This shrinks down beautifully. Maybe I'll do one for you for an example. I'm actually going to leave them like this because you know what a stinker is? When you get a tightly wrapped bath bomb, that is really hard to get the wrapping off. And this way, you can just tear it real easy. It gives you a little something to grab onto, and this will still protect the bath bomb. I'm going to leave it as is, just because why not? So let me grab one of my labels here. This is a 2-inch label. I think a 2.5-inch would fit on here beautifully also. But there it is. That's how I'm going to give them to my grandkids. I think that's beautiful. I'm leaving the pretty side unlabeled so you can see it real nice, and then the labeled sides, and this will be easy to unwrap, and it will still protect the bath bomb. So the round ones I'm going to do exactly like this also, just for easier unwrapping. Because I've bought bath bombs from the store for my grandkids before, and honestly, the bath water's getting cold by the time I muscle that thing open, so this will be good. Let me do one, and I'll shrink it for you guys, just so you can see how that all works. Here, I'll do my big fat boy one. I love this one, this big beefy one, jacuzzi-sized bath bomb. And then I like to turn it with the pretty side down and start on the bottom. I don't know why, that's just how I like to do it. And then I kind of use my thumb. It's a little hot, so be careful. And tuck in all the sharp edges. And there it is, easy peasy. And I'm going to, again, label the bottom so that the pretty side is facing up and you can see all the pretty salts on there. But again, this one's going to be harder to unwrap than this one. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.